Trailkeepers, I'm Susan. I'm a crew leader and the stewardship manager for Trailkeepers of Oregon. I'm here to talk today about trail recovery and restoration efforts in fire-affected areas. We aspire to build and maintain trails sustainably and in accordance with land managers' standards. With fire-affected areas, it's just a little more complex, with a combination of trail problems that tend to fall into two categories. First, there's damage caused by the wildfire itself. The range and complexity of trail problems correlate with the low, medium, and high burn severities. Check out the TKO burn area safety checklist for more on that. The second category of trail problems is all too familiar to us. Systemic issues that develop over decades due to trail design flaws, overuse, and deferred maintenance. While these trails are closed due to the fire damage, we have an opportunity to work with our land manager partners to create an even better trail system. Trail closures present a once-in-a-lifetime chance to bring trails back to spec, or even to make them better than ever, giving our communities more sustainable, accessible, and enjoyable trails to explore. We employ a tiered approach in trail restoration, outlined by these levels of service. Level 1, clearing the access corridor and assessing hazards to inform the job hazard assessment for future trail crews. Level 2, resolving trail hazards within the trail corridor and stabilizing degraded segments to make it safe enough for recreational use. Level 3, while addressing trail damage from fire, completely restoring trails to specifications set by the land manager. Avoiding and mitigating risks before and during a Level 1 service activates a small team of volunteers to clear the trail corridor for safe passage of future crews. Armed with light hand tools and flagging tape, the crew clears impassable debris and identifies potential hazards to be remedied to minimize safety concerns for volunteer crews. Burnt brush is the most common. Dried and hardened by the hot flames, it can obscure visibility and impede movement. The brush is removed just enough to make it passable and reveal any hidden hazards. Loose logs and beach ball boulders can teeter either uphill or on and across the trail, either on their own or in complex jackstraw piles. These logs and rocks sit precariously and without warning could roll or slide down the hillside. While some of these may be cleared, more complex hazards will be flagged for future saw or rigging crews or for land manager or contractor experts. Rock and rubble are let loose by the wildfire, burning off the understory and mossy layers that act as glue to hold that material in place. Depending on the burn severity and cross slope of the landscape, rock and soil may slide over the trail tread, burying some portions entirely. Grubbing tools are used to make a passable path across this debris. Hell holes are cavities under the trail tread caused by underground logs or roots that have burned away. These can smolder for months, leaving the possibility for a hiker to have the tread collapse under their foot and plunge them into a hot, smoking hole. We start by flagging the area off to warn our fellow trail keepers and by knocking down the edges to reveal the extent of the damage. Ravaged roots are flagged and identified. Burned roots threaten the stability of a tree, dead or alive, and can make it a hazard during future wind and rain events. Experts will further assess the flagged trees to decide whether their removal is advisable. Singed structures, timber steps and bridges, or even plastic culverts may be entirely destroyed or structurally compromised to the point of being unsafe. We take note of missing structures and flag signs of damage to remaining structures for further review. Following our Level 1 service, Level 2 service seeks to resolve trail hazards within the trail corridor and stabilize degraded segments of trail tread to make it safe for recreational use. Volunteer crews will perform complete corridor clearing, restore damaged portions of the tread, and work with our land manager partners to repair trail structures. Burnt brush is completely cleared from the trail corridor to a width and height specified by the land manager. Fire-affected brush has a tendency to gradually fall into the trail from outside the corridor, so wider clearing may be done to prevent that. Loose logs and beach ball boulders are removed by our sawyer and rigging teams as soon as possible. Once the low vegetation grows back in the first season after the fire, these will be hidden from view and remain hidden hazards if not identified and removed early. Rock and rubble from the backslope and tread are removed completely. This may be an ongoing service for the first couple years after the fire, as more rock and dirt is loosened by weathering until the mosses and ferns have time to grow back and hold material in place. Hellholes are filled with carefully stacked rock layers and capped with mineral soil. If necessary, volunteers add retaining structures to support the full width of the restored tread. Ravaged roots from standing trees are reviewed through a hazard tree assessment process. Some are left as a resource for wildlife, while others are removed for the safety of hikers or to prevent future damage to the trail, which could cause future closures. Singed structures are scheduled for replacement. TKO's capable carpenters may replace timber retaining structures, bridges, or steps, or trails may be redesigned to eliminate the need for the original structure entirely. Level 3 service has two components. First, addressing deferred preventive maintenance, and second, reevaluating the trail experience and looking for opportunities to create a more sustainable and accessible trail. While in the field solving fire-caused trail problems, volunteers can't help but recognize the opportunity for other improvements. Their trail eyes are constantly scanning, spotting design problems, misuse, and ways to make the trail enjoyable by a more diverse group of users. When signs of muddy conditions or tread creep are present, we ask ourselves, could we manage the mud by adding simple drainage features, busting out berms, and reestablishing a proper outslope on the trail tread? These are things we can do to improve the trail so hikers stay on and water flows off. A wildfire reveals social trails, cut switchbacks, as well as readily available rock and logs with which to build sound structures to address these issues. We can decommission those unsanctioned trails, armor switchbacks, and identify opportunities to construct rock or wood features to address trail damage from erosion and overuse. In some cases, wildfire causes fatal failures, making trail repair efforts inadvisable. This is a time to ask ourselves, was this even a sustainable trail before? Are there other issues that indicate this was a high-maintenance problem trail? Why not abandon the old alignment and design a more sustainable, accessible hiking experience? While we first mitigate the safety concerns, our thorough and thoughtful volunteers engage community members in giving back to hiking trails and restoring recreational access to Oregon's scenic sites. With land manager resources spread as thinly as they are, TKO believes this is a time to seize the moment and build a movement of shared stewardship for public lands. Our goals for supporting trails after a wildfire are to build back trails better than ever before, to connect more volunteers to trail stewardship, and to build organizational capacity, bridging gaps in support of trail management. At TKO, safety, fun, and service are our top priorities. Nothing is more important than ensuring your personal safety and enjoyment while giving back to our trails. Volunteers can safely play a powerful role in trail recovery for fire-affected wild areas when we avoid and mitigate the risks inherent to these landscapes. Trail Keepers of Oregon would love for you to come out and join us on a TKO trail party. There, you can learn how to assess and address basic trail maintenance issues you might find anywhere in the state. Once the smoke clears, you'll have the skills to come on out and join us on trails that have been closed due to wildfire damage. You can check our calendar for volunteer opportunities near you. Special thanks to our partners, Travel Oregon and the Forest Service Oregon Trails Fund for supporting our efforts to restore our fire-affected area trails.